What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Amateur Hour TV, the second channel for Amateur Hour. And on this channel, we go through additional NBA-related content, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, that I just do not have enough time to get to on my main channel. This is a perfect opportunity to use this channel because we got the big news, big reveal about Malcolm Brogdon and how the Raptors almost landed him in the offseason before he ended up going to the Celtics. I was going to do that video on Amateur Sports today, but then the Raptors waived 3 players. That became the more relevant news, but I still wanted to talk about this, and here we are today. If you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, be sure to drop a like to get the extra support to the channel, and make sure you subscribe to Amateur TV for more Raptors content every week with 2 to 4 videos. And if you're not subscribed to my main channel, what are you doing? Make sure you subscribe to that one as well. The link in the description. That channel on its road now to 13,000 subs. This one, we're going to get to that 2,000 soon. But Malcolm Brogdon, it was revealed yesterday, weird timing, right before the Raptors were set to play against the Boston Celtics in a preseason game. It got leaked that Malcolm Brogdon chose the Celtics over the Raptors for his offseason trade destination. That the Indiana Pacers said they had offers. They told Brogdon they had offers from both the Celtics and the Raptors, but they gave him the opportunity to choose which team he wanted to go to. Very respectful from the Pacers organization. Malcolm Brogdon decided to choose Boston over Toronto, and that made some Raptors fans a little bit upset. I mean, naturally, somebody chooses somebody else over you, you're going to feel like, hey, why did you choose them over me? But we're going to talk in this video about why he elected to choose the Celtics, and we're also going to discuss what could have been if he ended up coming to the Toronto Raptors. Would it have been a good trade for the Raptors, knowing the talent that the player has, but more importantly, what it would have cost for the Raptors to actually get this player from the Indiana Pacers? So for starters, Malcolm Brogdon would be an excellent player to have on the Raptors. I mean, he is exceptional. He is coming, like 4 years ago, he had that 50, 40, 90 season, crazy season with the Bucks. He is a guy who can get a good amount of assists, especially in his first year with Indiana. Played 2 years in a row on not good Indiana teams where the stats weren't as great, but his efficiency dropped, but his scoring went up quite a bit. But this is somebody who is certainly capable of shooting in the high 30s from 3 and in the mid 40s, mid to high 40s from the field, coupled with 6 to 7 assists. I think playing with a more talented team, 6 to 7 assists, maybe even more. Really, really good free throw percentage. And at 30 years old, and the only issue really is he's injury prone and he's a bit slow for a guard. But he is 6'5", makes up for, I guess, a lack of quickness with the height and his switchability on defense. He would have fit really, really well into this Raptors team coming off the bench in that 6-man role. It would have been so good to have Malcolm Brogdon on his team. But like I said, he chose another team over us. He chose those Boston Celtics. And like I said, Raptors fans are a bit upset about that. I mean, I was doing a watch party for the game yesterday, and somebody was actually at the game said that they were going to boo Malcolm Brogdon when he came out. And I'm like, you know, let's look at this from a non-Raptors fan perspective. Boston, as Malcolm Brogdon was as quoted to have said, the Boston Celtics are further along. Legitimately said further along. He said in a radio hit, something like that. And can you really blame him? I mean, the Celtics are coming off an NBA Finals appearance, huge aspirations to go win a championship this season. The Raptors coming off a first-round exit in an impressive season for what we were expecting, but the Celtics are the better team. I mean, let's be respectful here. The Celtics are further along on their course to win a championship. He's 30 years old, not getting any younger. It was a no-brainer decision for him to choose the Boston Celtics over the Raptors. And I think on top of being the better team, I think he has more of a shot of getting playtime with the Celtics. I mean, I think it's crazy that they're starting Marcus Smart over him. I think that's crazy. I think Brogdon should be starting. With the Raptors, Fred is obviously going to be a starter there. There's nobody else in the starting 5 that we would really take out for him. He'd be a bench player here, and I think he's going to get more minutes and more meaningful minutes playing for that Boston Celtics team. I think he is in their best 5 when closing a game, unless they go really big. But playtime, championship aspirations are on the side of the Boston Celtics. It is what it is. We just didn't have that, so he chose to go with the Celtics over the Raptors. But his fit with the Raptors would have been excellent. We have been dying to have a secondary playmaker beyond Fred VanVleet. In fact, there are question marks about Fred VanVleet's playmaking to begin with. So having a more traditional, I mean, not as traditional. I've always perceived Brogdon as more of a shooting guard who can play point guard, but I guess in Indiana he showcased he can be that primary ball handler. So having that would have been excellent for the Raptors, especially coming off the bench. We have so desperately lacked in the last couple of seasons a reliable point guard to come off of our bench. Brogdon would have filled that in. He would have added in a ton of shooting from the outside, a lot of floor spacing, and the switchability on defense. Like, it would have been an absolutely seamless fit with the Toronto Raptors, but it also comes at a cost. The Celtics gave away a first-round pick. It's not a great first-round pick, and they gave away some other assets that, like, they are not going to miss. I honestly think that the Celtics fleeced the Pacers in this trade. I guess there wasn't a ton of interest in Brogdon, but this is somebody I think, like, at the deadline, you could have perceived him somebody who was worth 2 first-round picks and, like, a notable, not like a crazy good player, but like a decent asset to go your team. Maybe a decent young player. Like the fact that Celtics got him for some change and a first-round pick is crazy. The Raptors, what they would have had to probably do to make this trade happen would have been, you probably got to get in the salary filler. You do have to give away a first-round pick, which maybe the Raptors need a little bit more, but this definitely would have helped us here. But the Celtics being further along, and I hate talking so highly of the Celtics team, but the Celtics who are further along, this is like somebody they were definitely missing in that potential championship run last season. They lost in the finals. This is somebody that really would have helped them. I don't know if this is quite the over-the-top sort of trade, but this is like the perfect complementary piece to a contender like the Boston Celtics. The Raptors were not quite in the position yet to make that trade that puts us over the top. Brogdon certainly wouldn't be a player that puts us over the top. He would definitely help out the Raptors in a lot of endeavors, as I have mentioned so far in this video. But as far as like giving away a pick in order to add in a piece like this, maybe it would have been better for the Raptors to hang on to that asset, pivot better for like a real star trade. Like, you know, we had the picks necessary to get Kevin Durant in the summer. That ultimately didn't materialize, of course, but, you know, would it have really been worth going with that pick to get Brogdon? That's a question that I would have had, but I had that same question at the deadline when we traded a first to get Thaddeus Young, and I initially hated that trade, but then I slowly started to come around on the trade, and I think Thaddeus Young was an important part of this team, finishing as the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference with 48 wins. He was also pretty good in the playoffs as well. That trade started to make a little bit more sense for the Raptors, so maybe this would have been another one where I thought like a bit differently. But then again, Brogdon is a much better player than Thaddeus Young. This is somebody who's coming off a 19 points per game season. It wasn't the most efficient, but, you know, I'll spare him a little bit because he was playing on such a poor Indiana Pacers team that was designed to lose as many games as possible so they could get the best possible pick in the draft. So I'm going to spare him a little bit in that regard, but man, yeah, he's a much better player than Thad. That would have been a great trade for the Raptors to make. It would have come at a bit of a cost. It would have been a really nice trade to make, but he chose the Celtics over the Raptors. There's nothing that we can do about it right now. It is what it is. But as far as having any animosity towards Malcolm Brogdon, I think that's pretty ridiculous. There's nothing really to be ashamed of here from a Raptors perspective. Yes, this would have been a great player to bring in, but, you know, looking at this silver lining, I guess it provides more of an opportunity for somebody like Delano Banton to ascend into a backup role this season. Really, really hoping he takes that sort of step this season. We wouldn't have had any of that opportunity to do that if he remained, if we had brought in Malcolm Brogdon. So I guess that's a slight silver lining. I mean, I would sacrifice that any day to have Malcolm Brogdon on his team, but there's no reason to get upset about this as a Raptors fan. This is a player fit to help a contender get even better. That's exactly what I believe he's going to be doing with the Boston Celtics. Again, I think it's just crazy that he's going to be coming off the bench. I think he is far too good to be coming off the bench, and they should be starting him. But, I mean, having a player that good off your bench is definitely going to help out your team. I think this is somebody that could also be a 6th Man of the Year candidate if he does remain healthy. But that is a big if, of course, as it comes to Malcolm Brogdon, the amount of injuries that he has had over the course of his career. And not that long of a career either. Came into the league very late. I believe he also won Rookie of the Year. Let me just double check that. Yeah, did win Rookie of the Year 2016-17 when he was a rookie at the age of 24. Won it over Joel Embiid, if you'd believe it, but it's because Embiid missed so many games with injury, and Brogdon actually played 75 games that year for Milwaukee. So that will do it for today's video on Amateur TV. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure you are subscribed to this channel for 2 to 4 videos a week. And you can also subscribe to my main channel, Amateur Sports. We have a video that came out an hour ago talking about, like I said, the players who got waived. And if you really enjoyed this video, drop a like to support us even more. It really helps promote the channel, gets it onto the recommended pages, gets us more viewers, gets us more supporters, and widens the Amateur Hour Army. Thank you again. I'll see you again next time for another video on Amateur TV.